How's it going, guys? This is Steven Jennings with Red Riot Games, and I am sitting here with John Stone, and he is the Ochaco 2 master. He's placed in the top 16 in the most recent event here. So, do you want to kind of go through what made this Ochaco so strong to beat out or get into the top 16 of a 256 man event?
Sure thing. I focused on Ochako 2 specifically for her strengths that she has both attacking abilities and defensive abilities. So I'll start with the attack lineup. The number one card, definitely Specialist of Sound. Or Specialized Soundwave. I ran three of these for the event. I don't own a fourth, or I would have ran a fourth as well. But this card definitely starting out early, it's a good poke card. But as you generate momentum throughout the game, this card becomes the setup to making sure that you dig for your kill condition and to make sure that you check well to make sure to pass all the attack strings that you want to do.
Hey, you get that card draw too.
Yes. Then I went with three Electric Jolt. This one specifically for the stun one, and also because of once it's in your momentum, you get to commit Rival's Foundation. So it's spot committal, which is amazing. And if this attack is completely blocked, it still deals one. So you get to respond with Ochakos once per turn to pick it back up and play it again, or play something else on the +2 to the attack check. I did two home run Comets. This one was for late game. If I got a long attack string going, I could really pump some damage onto this if I had momentum, but also adjust the top enhance. Some turns I would start out with just add a foundation to my momentum. So say I decided to play a 5 diff attack, had to check a 3, check 2. I could always add one of those committed ones to my momentum later on for specialized Soundwave or one of my other combos.
You love to see a character use their own support.
That's too, yes. Long-lasting explosion. This was a late addition. I wanted to be able to pump damage through because most all of these attacks, if you notice, are only 3 or 4 damage base. This one's a 6 base, and with Ochako's enhance, since she gets +2 to speed every attack, this one starts out as a 7 mid 6. So this one can be very, very strong because they're going to say, okay, I've got to block 6 damage. So they might have to either commit out to work with my stun abilities earlier, or for just the next card, which was one of my favorites, is float combo. I ran 3 float combo. This one, combo enhance, switch this attack's speed and damage. And then the bottom enhance, if it's completely blocked, it still deals 1. So it works with her response to make sure that you're always dealing at least 1 damage. But fun combo that I actually pulled off a couple of times during the event was I would start with specialized. People always wanted to block this because they don't want me to pick it back up to draw that extra card. So then I would play long lasting. They would block this one. I would respond, pick it back up, and then do float combo. So this one gives it +3 speed to your high attack. So it's a 9 high for 4, which
Mm-hmm.
you can combo enhance to switch the speed, then add another 2, or you could even go, 11 high 4 if you wanted with Ochako's +2 speed.
Oh wow, yeah, that's sneaky, sneaky.
Then the final, or nope, not the final attack on this. I've got 4 Indiscriminate Shock, 1.3 million volts. This card, I love, love, love in this deck. Stun 1, commit a foundation, your rival commits a foundation. So normally this was my third or fourth card to play, and they were committed out. So given the +2 speed, it was a 5 low for +1 for each of their committed foundations. So normally this presented 10 to 15 as the last attack card of the turn. And sometimes I would have 2 of these in my hands. So I would, if they half blocked this, managed to somehow half block this one, then I would play the final one to finish them off. Especially against 20 life or less, this one amazing. And even against the stronger guys and gals, it worked wonders. And then the final attack, And an interesting combo on this one is Pillar Swing. So this one, it's a 6 check, but stun 2. I'd start this one out a lot of the times when I did draw it, because if it's completely blocked, I get to add it to my momentum. So they would completely block it to not take the 8 damage. And then I would go and get, so I would add this to my momentum, and then I would just play Specialized Soundwave, and then get to stack my 2 on turn 2. So that helped a lot in putting crazy strong pressure on early game.
And they will definitely be blocking that 8 damage.
Yes. Well, and if they half block, I just pick it back up and then just either keep it or play it again. So it's stun 2, stun 2. And that was it for the attack lineup.
Sweet. Okay, let's approach some of these foundations here. Let's see some spice in there.
Awesome. So I did, for my 0 diffs, I did 2 release, and I've got 4 requesting assistance. Release, this one, amazing defense card. Also for late game, it is my only real getting out of deadlock card. Could destroy a foundation to make my next check to block and attack get +2. And requesting assistance, I mostly use this one for a defensive card, because one of the best cards in this deck for defense, Specialized Soundwave. I would flip this, I would commit this to make their attack get -3 speed, and then I don't normally always have a momentum, so I would flip this to ready this back up, and then be able to -3 several times in a turn sometimes. So really good, just spam foundations, but strong and effective. They never really sat on my board doing nothing. I would always end up using them.
I'm liking that. I like the multi-use for your foundations. I think it's very smart. Like again,
Yes.
you have a cards there that obviously, so that if you do get into deadlock, you have an escape rope, and then with the questing assistance, the combination with that with specialized sound does make it so that you do get to attach onto more than one foundation. So that's going to probably help you in the Ida matchup as well, because he is a speedster.
Yes, yes, and really being able to reduce crazy amounts of speed help immensely with this. And I think it's another reason why, since she has commit her to give -3 speed plus, 3 or I run 4 attacks that reduce speed, and then that one can just ready it back up to give me even more access to it.
Great. So what's this next card you got here?
Destined for mainstream success. Run 4 of these because I'm a 5-hander, and it's kind of a true 5-hander in a way. So flipping, naming a card type, revealing it to draw it if I'm correct. I basically always named attack because I would, besides of wanting attacks in my hand, is I wanted to know I was going to pass my check. So if there wasn't really a point for me to name foundation, because if I named attack, I pick it up. If I named foundation, I knew I had a 4, 5, or 6 on top. So definitely. And against a Jiro match, this actually helped me a lot, because when he stacked my deck, I knew exactly what I had, so I could name it to pick the zone that I might have needed to block with.
I foresee this card going, well, I don't say up in value per se, like cost wise, but I see it being played a lot more as certain character has been a little nerfed, and I think we're going to see a lot more movement towards Jiro in the meta, which means you're going to see a lot more, deck manipulation, and this card could come in handy for characters that are fighting Jiro.
Yes, I definitely agree. All right. Next, I ran 3 Observance Students. This one is, I get to flip, look at the top card of my deck. This could definitely be helpful just to know about passing the check. I didn't want to fail a turn. I never once got to use the Deadlock Enhance, but my turns I normally could win by turn 3, so I never really worried about Deadlock, or I never got to use the Deadlock Enhance, but it's one of the strongest Deadlock Enhances for the air symbol.
I see this card in a lot of decks, but I don't see it doesn't get a lot of play, right? I see it in a lot of decks, but like you said, the Deadlock Enhancer, which is super cool. I don't know. I feel like that low block is real good.
Yeah.
uh,
Yes.
it is still a 5 check. It is still a 1 cost. I haven't really seen this card used that much per se. I see it in
It's
decks, but this is
right.
it's good hearing this right now. What you're saying.
Yes, the because the deadlock is just commit. If a card has left your card pool, which she makes the card leave your card pool, you just get to go pick any ranged attack from your discard pile and add it to your hand. So, I mean, it is the if they go to deadlock and I have this out, then I would more than likely be able to win that turn, even with just one on the board.
It does have a lot of synergy with the previous card that was destined for mainstream.
Yes. Infinite Potential. This one I really, really love. I run a decent amount of high blocks, and so just being able to flip after your rival plays an attack, change its zone to high. Being that it's a 1 difficulty 5 check, it's just another good. I wouldn't really count it a spam foundation, but just I was trying to avoid running too many 2 difficulty foundations, so I needed to find a good, healthy, and just a 1 high block. So lots and lots of use throughout the tournament with just being able to block with this card or changing it to high to be able to block with one of my other high blocks.
I really do like this card. I think it's super strong. This for a long time I thought it was actually Bakugo's card. Oh no, I thought it was a Eraserhead's card until I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, there's pictures on it, definitely. Arrogant Disposition. I originally had this as a 4 of, dropped it down to a 3 of because it only deals with punches. So of course there are some characters that definitely focus on punches, and I faced several decks that did have punches, and they did come in handy in those. But mainly it's just the 1 difficulty 6 check part for me that ran it because sometimes in my long tack strings, when I would use specialized sound waves, this 6 check would be the card that I would stack as my bottom of the 2 cards, so that I knew I was going to be passing the check for my attack for sure.
Yeah, and there's a lot of punch characters right now too. Well, at the time there was a lot of punch characters. You got the All Mights running around. You got million Kirishimas running around. So I mean, this card, even though it targets this punch specifically, there's just so many punch characters. And at the time, the most popular character is a punch character, right?
Yes, very true. Of course, one of the best, and I basically think every character under any of these symbols will run this, is for Specialist of Sound. Being able to just commit after an attack is played, give it -3 speed is just amazing. But if I didn't have this 6 check on top of my deck for specialized Soundwave, I would put this one so I just knew what my 3rd check was going to be. So that I would just card knowledge is amazingly strong in this game, and knowing where cards are, I would actually put dice on top of my deck so that I could remember the counts because sometimes the sequencing would get really long in a turn and I'd forget what check I had there. So I just started putting dice there so I'd remember what I had on top.
As far as foundations go, I think this is one of the most solid foundations I'm personally in this entire set. It does a lot for you. You know, you get the speed hacks, you get you get to look at the top card of your deck. It is a check for 2, so it checks for 5, costs 2, and blocks for 3. I think it's just it feels like a strong foundation, and I'd love to see more ones with multi-use in this. This is several uses. This is a very strong card, very solid.
Yes. See, I ran 3 latent skill. This one originally had as 4 of, brought it down to a 3 of, but just being able to flip, discard 2 foundations to get 2 attack cards, or hope to draw 2 attack cards, can be wonderful. I also used it some if I didn't have, I say I kept 2 blocks thinking my opponent was going to play. They led with something I didn't predict. I could flip this, discard my 2 foundations in my hand to hope to get 2 different block zones. I used that interaction. I actually had an amazing Todoroki match where I used this I had my 5 cards to start. I flipped this to discard 2 foundations to have him use his Todoroki once per turn enhance. Because the other 3 cards in my hand were attacks, and I was able to kill him because he couldn't stop my indiscriminate 1.3 million volts. So it was a good bait out. Amazing match, but yes, it helped a lot.
It's like I love the card digging. Like digging through your deck for cards is always good.
Yes, and being that she is only a 5-hander, I mean there are turns where I would draw 1 attack and 4 foundations.
Ooh.
So being able to extend helps immensely.
Yep. I think the only time that card becomes blank is when you got was it? Oh, if you're fighting Shoto.
Yes. 3 first day of class. This one I've danced back and forth between this card. I've read people saying it's not that good of a card. I've read other people that are like it's an amazing card. I like it because I added it back in. I had it completely out of my deck until I added Pillar Swing in, and then I wanted to be able to make sure that if I got breaker blocked or anything, that this could help me just get my make sure that my next check passed through breaker blocks. And
Yeah.
also it flips to ready itself. So, I mean, you're not really getting punished too bad for using it as long as you have the 2 attacks in your hands.
This is really good against the Eraserhead matchup because he loves to bring his cards back and break you with them.
Yes, very much so. And then, of course, final card, and I have 2 in the main board, 2 in the sideboard, but Wall definitely just saves your life. I know Ochaco 2 has 33 life, but this card definitely keeps you from just taking that one extra hit and dealing no damage.
Never. This is the only omniblock in the game. There's other ones that are pseudo omniblocks, but this is like this is the omniblock in this set. I'm hoping to see more. I mean, guess that's why you got the you have the 4 check on it. But like you said, 2 in the main board, 2 in the sideboard. Super good against anyone who's running a setup with like I've seen some card Detroit Smash into reverse throw with was it plus ultra, and it's like, oh my god, I'll be taking none of that, thanks.
Right.
And so long as this
Yeah.
card's in the field, it is a problem.
Yes, and if it wasn't a 4 check, I would definitely run 4 in every deck that ran this symbol for myself, just because it is the only omniblock.
Yep, and taking 0 damage is better than taking any damage.
So that was the main deck. Got the 10 card sideboard. Um, I did 2 zero gravity lifts. This was mainly in there because it's a throw, just for any match that specifically Kirishima. But I could do this against any deck that was either really beefy or just crazy, crazy strong defense. Because this could bait out making him flip a wall cling, or just really. Or also just its momentum, being able to, after my attack resolves, adding it to my momentum, could come in clutch.
Yeah, it's a strong card. That would plus ultra.
But it doesn't trigger her once per turn, so it wasn't the main boarded. 1 electric jolt to give me 4 if I needed it. Same way if I was dealing with a crazy, crazy defensive deck, I would bring the 4th copy in of this just for the momentum ability.
I guess it also helps with fighting against Nomu as well.
Yes, I hadn't faced any Nomus yet, really. So it would be. I have a feeling that one will come into the fray very,
I
very
think you shred them pretty easily. You're able to commit them out pretty handedly. Most of your attacks have a stun on them,
soon. Yes.
and there's only so much stun hate that I think Nomu can run. I think 8 stun hate. But I don't even think he does that. Anyways, what's the next card?
Oh, you're good. It's the other 2 Walklings. So we know definitely Omniblock against the defenses. This one I will be adding back into my main board after this tournament. I realized this was in my original. I had my deck close to 60 cards, but I trimmed it down to 51 so that I could be far more aggressive and win by turn 3. But just being able to, I have a feeling that speed is going to be something that's going to be just being in the forefront this next provisional. So I would go back to mainboarding this one, just flip, change this attack speed to 4. Um, just a really, really solid. I mean, it is, you know, 2 difficulty, 5 check, 3 mid block, so not bad. And you can actually even commit this just to heal 1 if need be, since you're Uraraka.
I love that it just says make it 4 speed. Is it specifically 4 speed?
Yep. Yep. So it definitely against Jiro, I cited all of these in. And as I said, I would go back. Put this back in my main board for sure. That's gonna definitely go back.
Yeah, it's very strong. This is very good deck.
And then 2 short circuit. This one, destroy, return this non-charged attack to its printed damage. So this was basically just for all those players that just wanted to beef up their attack, and I might not have any speed 8 left. Or really, this saves my life against the throws because it's just, I can just reduce it back to its printed damage. And then a lot of times I would face tank a lot of damage just to keep my hand ready. Because if, say, I had 2 attacks in my hand and I knew I would be able to kill them the next turn, then face tanking a lot of damage can definitely help. But this one, reducing it back down to printed, is really, really good against those All Mights or Kirishimas or Nomu. It would definitely work against him.
Yeah, I'm liking it. This is a very interesting take on this character. You got to the top 16. I mean, and with a 5-hander and a Kirishima heavy meta. That is very impressive. I think that you give a lot of Ochakus out there a lot of hope. But here's a surprise question today. How do you feel about Ochaco 3?
I actually am a big, big fan. I know some YouTubers that I've watched have said they don't think she's that great, but I really think she's amazing because that ability of hers
Ooh.
works on both people's turns.
Mm-hmm.
So she might say she's a 6-hander with just a little bit less life than a normal 6-hander, but she's technically an 8-hander because she'll get to pick up 1 on hers, 1 on yours,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I think she'll be really, really strong. I would love to do some testing with her once she gets out, and figure out if she might be, what I lean towards for that set. But I like her a lot.
Surprise question. Does zero gravity have high? Is it a high attack?
Yes.
And so she can get a throw. She can loop a throw.
Yep. Yep.
Oh boy, every turn, hey. Fun. All right. Well, anyhow, I think a lot of these questions I was going to ask, like the dealing with Eraserhead, you kind of like got a lot of that seems to be figured out here. Getting your character sealed would suck, but you have ways of getting around. I think Eraserhead only ever plays 2 erases per turn, and then he messes with the giving you breaker, so you have a way to get around that, so you can extend your turns out. My guess is that when you're playing this deck, is that you try to sculpt like a three attack hand. If I'm just gonna guess, right?
Yes, correct. Yes.
So at least if you're facing against good old race, and you can kind of because I think this is a go tall attacks too, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because a lot of what I've been seeing is that this characters that you have to pass 2 tests. Can you beat Kirishima? Can you beat Eraserhead? And then obviously now Jiro. I don't think this character has a problem with Jiro. I don't think she does. I don't think she cares. I think she's gonna do her game. And I think going into a meta without Kirishima, what is like some difficulties you think this Ochaco 2 is gonna be facing, and Kirishima less kind of card pool, and like you have cards that were targeting punches more. I mean, do those change with provisionals coming up, and if so, in what way?
I think I would definitely still keep. I would definitely keep the 6 check in there for sure. Because I think All Might now might definitely pick up even more steam. Nomu's got punches. The main thing I would change more than likely would just be I put a lot of just a lot of heavy damage in this to try to just win out early game. But if because you have to beat a wall before. I mean, it was just Kirishima. He can pick up 2 blocks, and so it was going to be a long, drawn out slugfest if you couldn't win early. So I think I would definitely reduce down the pillar swings just to 1. And just really the main is just get just a little bit more speed reduction in the main board. But I think she has an amazing matchup against almost every type of deck she can play because she can kill a 20 life character turn 2
Hmm.
pretty efficiently. And
Killing those
because they
squishies.
yes, exactly. Because almost all of my matches like that against 20 life characters or less were very, very quick games, except for Todoroki, which definitely can be an uphill battle. Um,
Just blanking
but
out abilities, I guess, and shutting down foundations. I can see it. He does have access to a really strong breaker to attack, and he can freeze out the card that allows you to get the check bonus. So I can see it. I can see where you're coming at with this. He's got that nature one with nature as well. So that's
yeah.
challenging. Well, hey, I appreciate you giving me your time. This will be posted as soon as I can get it on the YouTubes. Just gotta make a nice little thumbnail. If you could send one word to Jasco about some Ochaku love in the future, or maybe even a different character that's not in the game yet, what would that be?
I'm super excited for Mirio when he comes out. He's one of my favorite characters. But being a big fan of Ochako, I think all 3 of her characters so far look amazing, and I hope that they just continue to be amazing because just everything that they presented so far, I haven't seen a character that I haven't just been like, wow, that is not too bad, and I wouldn't mind testing with it and playing with it. And I definitely think we have going forward in the future. There should be just big shakeups in the meta, which I'm excited about because that was one thing about the provisional that kind of disappointed me was it was just the one big bad boogeyman. And then I have a feeling this provisional there's going to be a lot to think about and a lot we're going to see. I don't think it'll be one specific. I think there's going to be a lot of
Yeah.
decks to look out
Well,
for.
a lot of characters that would struggle against Kirishima, they now get to play, right? So that's
Yes.
that is a thing. Well, anyways, we don't want to eat up too much more of your time. Thank you so much. If anybody wants to follow you on any of your socials or wants to get in some games against you in person at your favorite card shop, how can they do so?
I really don't. I live out in the country, so I don't really. I just play on TTS as Beefy Ramen.
Hmm.
So if you just ever want to message me about any games, I'm free most afternoons, as long as I'm not out and about.
They gotta show up like it's like an old western. They come strolling through town with their deck.
Right.
I heard there was a stone in town. All right. Well, thanks very much, man. You take care of yourself. And for
Thank
those
you.
are,
You too.
yeah, for those that are watching this, I guess I should cheer for you in the next provisional challenge as you continue to bring Ochaku from top 16 to let's say top three, maybe first place.
Let's hope.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Thank you.